Coach Christian talked about a couple of those hitch routes, and it's kind of surprising because Sean's usually pretty good open field tackle. I'm not putting it all on him, but secondary-wise, what was that? Was that those hitch routes the thing that came to mind, or what did you see after seeing the film, secondary-wise from you?
Well, I think overall just very, very disappointed with the outcome on a number of pass plays on the day. The bulk of the routes and complete passes were in front of us. There was literally one pass that was complete over our head, and they threw for over 300 yards. So there's an underlying theme there. We're trying to keep the ball in front. We certainly, if that ball's completely in front of us, we got to do a great job bringing it to the ground. And truly, in most cases, it wasn't altogether a missed tackle. It was a lack of a tackle attempt. Some of it is trying to get a hand on the football, so you want to be aggressive, so you got to balance that.
Right.
But I tell guys, the ball's in the air, you get two options: either the body's on the ground, that is the ball carrier, or the ball's on the ground. And again, we didn't get either of those two things done. So just really, really disappointed. Hopefully it's not an epidemic around here, and certainly don't expect it to be. And got confidence in those guys, but certainly we didn't get done on Saturday.
Sure. Knowing these guys, how do you feel like they will bounce back? I mean, I guess we'll see this week, obviously, but you've been around these guys quite a bit. So how do you feel like they will bounce back?
Well, I do. I mean, I think anytime you take a one-game evaluation, whether good or bad, I think it's difficult to truly make an overall evaluation. We had 5 picks against those guys 2 years ago. We haven't duplicated that since. So that certainly didn't turn into an epidemic. I'm not sure that I expect this one to either. But ultimately, it's a performance-based deal. So until you go out there and you put it on film and you do it on a Saturday, the line theme right now for everyone as they interpret where we're at as a defensive backfield isn't real positive. So we got to change that.
How would you assess Luke Anderson's first game back there? It seemed like he played a lot of snaps, and again, you're the coach. I thought it was a pretty solid effort for him. How would you assess his performance?
He did. I think there was one play, an opportunity to get the ball on the ground that he would like to have back, just a dig route. And as you're watching on film, can't figure out how he didn't get a hand on the type of thing. But same type of concept. You don't get a hand on the ball, you better bring that guy to the ground. So you want to be aggressive and all those things. So again, when one play stands out, that means the rest of your day was pretty good. I was pleased with him from a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint. Certainly possesses great speed back there. So I was excited by him. Pretty good positive for his first game of Division I football.
Also too, I know Luke, being at Blinn College, they produce a lot of good players. Texas State certainly has a few of those players there. He knows them, is familiar with them. It could be kind of emotional. You're going to need to maybe, I don't know if wrangle is the right word, but control his emotions. He probably wants to do really well against some of his friends or former teammates. Will that probably come up or be addressed at some point this week to make sure, that's great to get fired up about it, but also don't get too fired up over it?
No question. And the coach he had at Blinn is on the staff, Coach Fran there at Texas State. I know he's got a lot of respect for him as well. So, for a lot of our Texas guys, there's connections, and obviously Luke being one of them. Don't have real fears of him, getting himself too out of whack and those things. But all the same, I think it certainly is a game that he's been looking forward to.
Sure. Well, I've talked to you a lot about the recruiting, presence you and this program has in Texas. We talked about, you're not maybe getting in the same homes as TCU is, but Texas State coming up their FCS, they're going into the WAC next year. In your dealings or even the staff's dealings, do you come across them a lot in recruiting, maybe, over with the same kids, or do you cross paths with Texas State quite a bit?
Well, we do, and obviously a lot more now than we have in years past. And obviously their presence, what they're able to sell has obviously changed with them joining the Western Athletic Conference. So it'll be a challenge. I mean, as you look at it, guys have an opportunity now to stay home, play Division I football in the Western Athletic Conference. That is something that appeals to them. And now obviously the major selling point is it would be in state. For some of those guys, that's obviously very important. It doesn't matter if it's Texas or anywhere. If a guy wants to stay at home, there's going to be a real battle to try and get them up to a Wyoming. But all the same, for every kid that doesn't want to travel, there's one out there that will. So the pool of players that we feel we can get out of there still is one that has a talent base that we think can compete up here, even if we're going to lose some battles to them without question because of that local selling point.
Are there guys on their team, and you don't have to mention names, you can't know that you or the other staff that recruited or gave looks at or even offers to that are on the Texas State team right now?
A couple guys offhand that come to mind that we took a hard look at. No one that we tripped or offered or anything like that, but guys that weekly phone call type of guys that we thought that we may go on at some point. And certainly their talent level on that team as we watch them on film. They've done a nice job.
Right. Just because if Wyoming beats Texas State Saturday doesn't mean the recruiting ties in Texas but can't hurt, can it?
No question. No question. And again, you go back to, it's going to be in the paper, and it's going to be further towards the front of that sports section than it otherwise would be, Wyoming score. So certainly that's something that's a positive. It makes it easier to make a phone call next week to some of those guys down there. And obviously that's our aim.
Gotcha. Right on.